Previously, Notham split up for a few hours to take care of business in Amon. Arian took his sister and nephew home. Aerith visited the house that Arian had wished into existence for her. Gwei took a nap. Zallar did some reading. Seris did some cheating at cards. Iridian and Zero talked, and an invitation to visit Iridian's home was offered. Also, how to give hugs was taught. It was adorable. Aerith transported them to Vasselheim via tree, letting her finally fulfill her dream of being a tree Uber. They made their way to the Temple of Sarenrae, which had clearly been hard hit during the attack by Orcus. While they spoke with one of the priestesses at the temple about where to potentially find information about Zero's master, Seris noticed a half-elf woman who was clearly eavesdropping on them after hearing the word Warforged. The woman, Glimmer, told them that she might have some information and they should meet her at a tavern called the Black Network that night. Per Zero's request, Seris followed the woman. She went to a home a few blocks away and spent several hours there, talking with a human man who was clearly related to her. They seemed to recognize the term Warforged and were very surprised and a little concerned that Nothram was looking into it, and that Zero might be one. Aerith went to the Temple of the Lawbearer to see if she could find any information there. She met a young-looking Goliath cleaning inside, and she was able to get a fair bit of information from him. He knew about a woman named Powder, who was supposed to build Warforged for the city but didn't, so she was being kept as a prisoner for failing to fulfill her contract. Not that the higher-ups at the temple used that word. He told Aerith where she was being kept and asked her not to tell where she found out. In return, she gave him information about the Land of Ravens if he ever wanted a fresh start. Iridian and Gwei spent the day wandering the city. They made their way to the quad roads and were shocked to see all the life around them, considering they just spent weeks in the Abyss. Out of character, many references to 2020 may or may not have been made. Arian, Zallar, and Zero spent some time doing research. Zallar found an odd pattern from about a decade earlier, where there was a sudden spike in arrests and convictions before it leveled out again. Arian spoke to the priestess, who was able to point them in the direction of an elderly woman who lived nearby, who was always up for some gossip. Zero stayed behind to help with the temple, while Arian and Zallar went to see what information the woman might have. She was very blunt, but was able to tell them about a special guard that the city brought in about a decade earlier, one that didn't need to sleep or rest. The city announced that they were bringing in a lot of them, but they only ever had the one, and he disappeared without warning after about a year. After Arian drew a picture of Zero, she immediately confirmed that that was the guard. Meanwhile, the half-elf that Seris had been trailing put together a sign that read the Black Network and put it up outside the house she'd visited earlier that day. The others started to gather in the street, loitering outside the tavern, and Seris slipped out of her hiding spot to join them. And that is where we left off.